This is Theoretical Thrills, the podcast where three hosts pitch original theoretical rides and attractions based on things they don't own. A special guest judge awards bronze, silver, or gold based on three separate categories: most creative, most practical, and guest's favorite. With bragging rights on the line, the hosts will try to pick each other's ideas apart through gentle ribbing. So sit back, relax, and stand clear of the moving doors as we present Theoretical Thrills.
Theoretical Thrills, the theory of the thrill.
Oh boy!
In 3, 2, fun!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Theoretical Thrills. I'm your host, Oliver.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Spencer.
And we're joined by our special guest this week, Jeff. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are all you guys?
You know,
Good. We're doing the same as always. And you're here this week for a very special subject. I say it every week, but every week's special in my heart. And that is the theme of heavy metal, specifically 80s metal, which is, I'm so excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, Jeff, what is your relationship with theme parks and attractions in general?
My relationship gets a little deeper every year. Sort of stumbled into the themed entertainment industry after a career in film and television, and I find, as having gone through it, I now find myself as president of the TEA, the Themed Entertainment Association, the Western Division, Western North America. And have a lot of colleagues. I've worked on a lot of attractions around the world, and I feel like I found my people with themed entertainment. So I've now loved learning more about theme parks. I've loved learning more about the process of the design and the technology of all of it.
I got to tell you, I was fortunate enough to go to the Theo Awards a few years ago, and to this day, my jaw is still a gape, just sitting there going, like, how so many smart, creative people in one space. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's talk about the metal. Let's talk about the 80s metal. What is your relationship to the metal?
I love music. I love rock. I love metal. And for this usage in particular, 80s metal, as the 70s ended, 80s metal blossomed into quite possibly one of the most visually stunning things that music created. And to me, 80s metal lends itself to a theme park, and we need a metal theme park.
I'm right there with you, brother. I'm right there with you. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to get three very distinct and different versions of that today by getting our pitches. Now, as all the people listening know, the pitches that we're going to be saying today are going to be judged on three categories. Those three categories are?
The three categories are practicality, which is something that feels like it could fit in a theme park today. It could exist there. Creativity, which is something that just seems very creative, for lack of a better term. And guest favorite, which, Jeff, those are any rides, attractions that we do today that just tickle your funny bone, float your fancy, wiggle your insides, whatever it is, whatever you might want to go on, anything at all counts for that final category.
Fantastic.
Wiggle your insides?
You know, I was trying to change it up this week, and I said wiggle, and then I couldn't think of another word.
Problem.
Yeah, I was going to say I had that once it was words.
You know, wriggle and jiggle and wiggle and cider. So old lady who swallowed a fly, you know.
Start.
I don't know. I want metal to affect my entire body inside and out.
Right.
Yeah.
Your insides should not just be wiggled. They should be properly thrashed with music.
Exactly.
I get it. So this week we spun the wheel, and to decide the order in which we're going to be going this week, the order is, Brad?
It's going to be me first. Then it was guest choice, and Jeff chose Spencer to go second and Oliver to go last.
So I'll be cleaning it up in the end. Now, Jeff, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Gentlemen, are you ready?
Oh,
Ready.
I'm ready.
Let's bring the thunder. Brad, take it away.
Welcome to my presentation. I have for you three rides today based on 80s heavy metal. Now, I was born in the 80s. It's an important decade. It's a very important decade, I feel. Because without the 80s, where would I be? Which brings me to my pitches, heavy metal. Now, I love some good 80s heavy metal. Although when I was doing my research, I found some problems. See, there's a lot of confusion as to what counts as 80s heavy metal, what
This is
doesn't
true.
count as 80s heavy metal. Is it glam rock? Is it rock? Is it actually metal? And I think I've narrowed it down for my 3 rides. So my 3 attractions. So my first attraction is my simplest and easiest attractions. When you go to Disney, the little kids, the girls and the boys, and they have the opportunity to go to this thing called the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, where they get to dress up as princesses or pirates or whatnot. And I'm thinking, if you're gonna rock out, you need to get in the mood, right? So what better way than to go into the Poison Parlor? At the Poison Parlor, designed like a tattoo shop, 80s tattoo shop, we're going to let you be styled like your favorite heavy metal rocker. Now, this is an all ages thing. Can you imagine little kids running around with the long hair, rocking it out just as well as the parents? We'll have hair, wigs, the hats that or headbands sort of that go with the wigs and stuff, so that you can sort of have that to purchase on. Makeup, fake piercings, and real piercings. We will have certified piercing artists there, tattoo artists there. We'll also offer, speaking of tattoo artists, of course, we're in a tattoo parlor. We're going to offer fake tattoos. And I'm not talking about the little wash-on, stick-on ones. I'm talking about more of the henna style and or that more ink where it lasts a few days before it finally wears off. So you get the tattoo without the permanency. You get to have it for a few days, let it sort of fade and look cool.
It lasts a hangover's worth of time.
Exactly. All you ever want a tattoo to do if you're just experimenting.
Right.
So we're also going to have a variety of clothing to purchase as well as accessories. It's all about the awesome boots, the different types of jeans, the leather jackets. We'll have fake leather jackets. We're going to offer a variety for the different price ranges as well. And then, of course, the T-shirts and tanks. Because these are all important assets. And so you'll be able to come out of that experiencing like you are a 80s heavy metal rocker. That is my first attraction, the Poison Parlor. Are there any questions?
So much pleather that you're going to be going through on an average day basis. That's just it's all black spandex and pleather and a lot of tiger print.
I'm wondering too, is it just about attire from the era, or will there also be things like the Quiet Riot masks? Like, will there be like horns that I can get?
I want like the key things from those rockers. So like if you're at their concert, this might be something you were wearing then. If you're at their concert in the 80s, rocking out with them, this is what the look is supposed to be. Era appropriate attire. Now I will say it's not part of my pitch. I did Ren Fair. A lot of Ren Fairs do a thing where you can sort of rent costumes. But going back to the pleather and stuff like that, I was like, man, I don't want to think about having to clean that in between every year.
It's this big, but you're just sitting there with I hate this job.
You wear it, you bought it. So that is my first attraction. If there's no other questions, let me move into my second attraction, which I shall call Visions. Now, I am, like you mentioned before, an 80s kid, and the 80s holds a film that is very, very dear to my heart, Back to the Future. And when I was thinking about Back to the Future, there's one song that really sticks out. And so what I want to create is I'm going to create a 60s sock hop diner, all right, that we're going to walk through. And here, as you're going through the diner, you're going to be getting a lovely little hat similar to what Mario Kart is using. Mario Kart, in Japan, they're using where you have the hat clip on, and then you'll have an AR. Once you get in the vehicle, AR snap that snaps on to give you AR. And so what's going to happen is you're going to go through this diner into your 60s convertible car. So you'll hop into your 60s convertible car. Through the AR, you're going to start cruising nicely through the town. So we'll get to see the 60s town. We'll get to see some people through the AR. You can just see them off to the side and walking by and stuff like that. Until you're going to hear your engines start to break down. Oh no, that's a problem. Let's pull over into this alleyway. Now, in the alleyway, what's going to happen is I want to use essentially electromagnetics for the body frame of this car. You're going to see through AR, you're going to see some 80s rockers come out. They're going to essentially strip the car. And what's going to happen is the sides are going to be retracted away through magnets. And so it's split down in half in the middle. And it'll reveal an 80s muscle car convertible. So you're now in an 80s muscle car convertible. The radio will crackle a little bit. And then you'll hear Johnny Be Good as sung by Judas Priest. You will then launch into a roller coaster, weaving through the streets of this town, of this city. But the AR, what's going to happen is you're going to see essentially the world painted into the 80s rock. So you see this like quaint little 60s town and stuff ahead of you. And as you're going by, it's getting painted into this 80s heavy metal world. With the tattoo shops, the people rocking the leather and stuff, and just this sort of feel of like the world's morphing around you, and you're bringing the heavy metal into this world. So there's not going to be any loops on this roller coaster because this is you're driving through the town. Cars don't go in loops. That's absurd. But what is going to happen is there's going to be a lot of twists and turns and quick weaves through the town as you're watching this become the 80s. And it's going to X out into an 80s styles Sunset Strip sort of venue theater. And so that's where the exit is, with the music rocking in the background. So that is attraction number 2. Any questions?
Why AR?
Because what I want
He said what I wanted to say.
Because I thought AR because I could do screens. I could and just have it digital. But I want the ability for you to be seeing this world getting painted over. So there's still a physical world. It adds a sort of 3D feel to it, especially for the twists and turns through the streets. I figured if I went with screens, it just doesn't feel real.
I mean, projection mapping, I think, is sort of where I would go immediately, because AR, kind of trendy right now. You've got all this headgear. Why don't we get rid of the headgear? And everything you're talking about, mostly roller coaster, you're going so fast, I'm not sure the AR is going to keep up with it as is.
Moreover,
right.
You might end up having the situation that you have with Mario, where they're having to give you a 2-stage AR layout, where the first stage is them teaching you how to put on the headset, and then the next stage is you clicking into the ride car. And if that's the case, the thing they're already seeing with problems with that is just the fact that it's too many steps.
And part of what makes it so special too is that there's so much interactivity between the ride car and the actual ride. Since, Brad, you don't have that much interactivity, if we just take it over to, show control projection, you're still getting all the world painted with light and changing before your eyes. At the speed of which you are describing this, the speed of metal.
Yeah. All right, so then my idea, but we're gonna add in projection mapping instead of we'll ditch the AR projection map. That would be the fix.
This is a great time to remind you that you are judging based on his original pitch and not our fixes.
Fair enough.
So that's an excellent fix. That would be the perfect fix to my ride. That'd be the one thing I would change. Other than that, I'm very happy with that ride. Are there any other questions or suggestions? No?
No, literally, he took my knife out of my hand on that one.
Are you ready for my third pitch?
Oh yeah.
My third pitch I once again turn to the 80s. See, I'm thinking there's a thing. If we're going to do 80s heavy metal, we have to have a show. We have to have a show.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, well, how can I have a show? What could I do? How can I draw in audiences into heavy metal? What if they know some heavy metal, but they're not fully into it? What if they're a normal? What if they're not cool? And that got me to thinking about creating a show that embraces the heavy metal while also being available to those that are not. See, what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you the premise of my show. We're going to have a bumbling janitor. He's cleaning up the studio that he works in, public broadcasting studio that he works in. And he's going to, as he's cleaning up and whatnot, make an error. That's right. Ernest is going to summon the devil. All right. Now, Ernest is going to summon the devil, and the devil
I'm so upset.
is going to challenge Ernest to a heavy metal battle. Now, Ernest, being the goofy is, being the everyman, doesn't know much about heavy metal, but he's in luck because the public broadcasting station that he works at, well, guess who works there? That's right, Wayne and Garth. And Wayne and Garth also happen to have special guests, Bill and Ted, on. So together, the five of them set off, the four of them set off to teach Ernest all they can about heavy metal before coming back to the final battle of heavy metal. Now, you might be thinking, well, Brad, what type of songs would we hear on this? What type of things would happen? Oh, well, we would have them, we would start off with an intro of To Hell with the, not To Hell with the Devil, Burn in Hell by Twisted Sister. We would get to have some Number of the Beast from Iron Maiden. We would have a brief moment where Ernest would be like, he thinks he's finally starting to get it. He goes, oh, I got the next destination.
You mean an earnest moment?
An earnest. I see
Sorry, I'm just trying to annotate the importance of being earnest.
He takes them.
Oh, jeez.
He takes
I would have thought of those first, but wow.
He takes them to a time, a concert where we hear All Hell's Breaking Loose. All right.
Nice.
And then we have commentary from the others. Well, wait, this is Kiss. This is more, they go more glam rock in their late years. We can't accept this. And they ditch it out of there. Because we got a reference. Kiss is not heavy metal. They are glam rock.
That's right.
And a lot of people, there was a lot of debates over this on the internet. This was the big thing. So I was like, well, I got to make sure to reference this. Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath, of course. We're actually going to throw in a little bit of Europe. Some Rock the Night.
Not the band.
The heavy metal band Europe.
Yeah.
They are heavy metal. They're a European heavy metal band.
Yeah.
Look them up, bud. Look
You
them
mean
up.
the ones that
Do your
did? Even the ones that did the final countdown?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so then
Europe
if that's
is a
the
heavy
case,
metal
then
band.
Kiss should be heavy metal if Europe
Kiss
is heavy
is glam
metal.
rock. Europe. Look them up.
Europe's pretty metal.
They're heavy.
Well, I've only
heavy
know
metal.
final countdown, so
Yeah.
So it's going to end with an epic battle where we will have Stryper's version of To Hell with the Devil being played. So that's what they're going to rock out and play and send the devil back to hell. And yeah, so I got some, I have my list. I created a playlist. I have also in this show, Master of Puppets by Metallica, Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne, Fight Fire with Fire by Metallica. I have two songs by Metallica. Fight Fire with Fire is the one that Metallica is going to sing to the group to sort of guide them as to what they need to do. That's my pitch. That's my show. It's going to be a way that we get some music. We get some music, but we also get some humor and a little bit of almost like a little tad bits of history about these different bands, because you're going to go meet these bands and get to know a little bit about them. So it'll hopefully those people that maybe are not so into 80s heavy metal or don't know much about heavy metal are able to be like, oh, I like this music. Okay. okay, I could see this. All right. And then that way they'll be able to, on their way home or whatever, be able to look up these songs and we have some new converts. Yes, Spencer, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. In addition to being an extended heavy metal version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia or Tenacious D's tribute, would you say that all these songs are going to be played in their entirety / how long is this show going to be? Because that seemed like a lot of plot and a lot of songs.
No, they are not all going to be played in their entirety. The opening song is going.
No other information aside from no.
The opening. You gotta let me answer. The opening
process.
The opening song will be played in full because that's the Devil's Entrance song. It's got to be played in full. It's got to be powerful. It's got to be epic. And then the final battle song will also be played in full. The other songs will be snippets, tidbit, little pieces to help really push the story along, give you a taste of the music so that they can experience it later. And then that's it.
Yes. What is the venue? Where is the audience?
What is the venue?
Yeah, so is this like a theater, a Dollywood where you see a bluegrass review?
So it's like an outdoor stage theater, similar to like you would see what used to be Fear Factor in Universal. It's where they would do
like Beetlejuice Graveyard Review.
Well, where like Waterworld without the water.
Sure. It's like an arena.
An arena. Yeah, thank you. That's the term I'm looking for.
No, but Spencer,
I kind of wish you had said ice show.
Wait, I'm getting a compliment. Hold on, I'm getting a compliment, and I would like to hear what this compliment is.
Spencer, it's very, very astute of you to reference Tenacious D because this is definitely, it was definitely related, and you know what? That's not a bad thing.
I mean, Tenacious D.
It's not a bad thing. No, I just appreciate the
I'm aware. Let's get to my pitch so I can bring them up. Go ahead. let's power through.
All right, I'm done with my pitches.
Okay.
We'll call it Ernest and the Devil. Ernest Goes to Hell. Ooh, that's a good one. Ernest Goes to Hell.
Right, but you just called it Ernest and the Devil. before
Ernest Goes to Hell.
But in my mind, they get it from the same people that make the sign graphics for like a sitcom. So it's like Ernest and the Devil.
Ernest Goes to Hell would have been a great title though, since there's Ernest Goes to Jail.
Yeah,
it would have been.
Yeah, so now it is. That's the title. I didn't have a title.
All right. Fair enough. So those are Brad's 3 pitches. Now we're going to move on to Spencer. Jeff, checking in. How are you feeling so far?
Oh, Brad, excellent work. It's very 80s. Might not be enough metal yet.
Well, the roller coaster is made out of metal.
Good. I also commend you very much for the amount of IP that you use in your show.
Oh, this is not going to be cheap. that show.
Oh yeah, no, the licensing budget on this one's going to be interesting to say the least. Yeah. All right, so we got that. Spencer, are you ready?
I think so.
Oh God. All right, bud. Fire in the hole.
It was a confident, I think so. I'm trying to organize them in order because, again, I had so many backups. So I'm trying to figure out what I want my third pitch to be. But I'm going to go chronologically, I think, in terms of when stuff was released. And I'm going to start right at the cusp on 1980 with the classic Ozzy Osbourne from Black Sabbath hit Crazy Train, because why not include Crazy Train at a theme park? So this is a very simple Music Express in the dark. So how this ride works is guests are going to enter a dungeon-themed dome building. They're basically going into the void. Anyways, it's getting darker and darker as they approach the ride vehicles, and the ride is a simple Music Express, but with a twist. Guests hop into the Music Express, dubbed the Crazy Train. Then once the dimly lit area seats all guests, the lights go completely off as guests shoot through the void, quote unquote, with flashing lights, neon projections, and complete darkness, all while Crazy Train plays. And that's it. It's a Music Express in the dark to the tune of Crazy Train. That's my first pitch.
Simple.
I mean,
what?
Incredibly simple. That's the best ideas. That simple.
What
I would agree.
What? But he's simple in that he's left off a lot of things. What are your visuals here? You've just all you said was just projections and like
I said neon projections. I said it takes place in the dark, so there's not going to be a lot of visuals because it's in the dark. But as you're going fast through the crazy train, there's going to be some like neon light projections.
It's Space Mountain, but listening to Crazy Train.
It's Metal Mountain.
Yeah, Metal Mountain.
Mhm.
That's a great title for it. I love it. It's Crazy Train, the ride. That's what it is.
Okay.
Moving on. Any other questions?
No.
Great. We're going to move on to 1988 with a whole new theme from a classic metal band that has garnered their way into the early aughts of the new millennium, Metallica. And this is specifically based on the album And Justice for All. And this is an ice cream shop called And Just Ice for All. And how this works is it's an ice cream shop with a lot of fun metal and Metallica puns, including the ice cream such as the frayed ends of Santa Tea, which is a green tea flavored ice cream, the shortest strawberry. Also, for those who are vegan, there's the Harvester of Soyro, which is a soy-based ice cream as well.
Because nothing says metal like digestion.
But I also was going to say, I forgot my little beginning part, which is, once you've screamed a lot on Crazy Train, you can soothe your throat and cool down at the ice cream shop, was what I was going to say as the beginning. But that's that. It also has other, things like Black Sabbath's Technical Ecstasy Salted Caramel, Judas Priest's Vanilla Ice Creaming for Vengeance, things like that. I also thought of Seven Starburst, which is like a sherbet, which is another vegan option as well. But it's an ice cream shop to the theme of Metallica's And Justice for All, called And Just Ice for All, with a little hint of other metal bands thrown in. That's pitch number 2.
I got to tell you, again, simple as the day is long, and that was what makes it perfect. Love a good
It's going to bother me how much he's going to win this week.
Love a good pun ice cream shop.
I love it too. I think it's a lot of fun. Any other questions?
Too.
The worst part is that I can see the build out of it, and I love the idea. Like, I could see the charcoal cones. I could see like the banisters made to look like a velvet carpet. Like that's I could see all the things that you build out in that world.
And this is also, Oliver, you bring up a great point, which is why metal is such a great thing to create a guest experience, because the visuals of all of it are tactile and rich and high contrast and fire.
Yeah.
Oh, fire, which doesn't go well with ice cream.
Fire and ice, baby.
That's called water.
And what is ice cream mixed with? Water and
You're
dairy.
not gonna win. You're not gonna win here, bud. Move on to your third idea.
Also, you can have dry ice, which is like basically a fire effect. So anyway, my third pitch is we're going.
Effect.
Anyways, my third pitch, we're going back to usual Spencer here for this one.
Good.
And I did say I know we're doing
Food court. Give me
80s
a
metal
food court.
80s metal bands.
Yes.
And I already did 1980 and 1988, and I said I was going
Yes.
chronologically. So in theory, I can only do 1989. But I'm going to take a little bit of a divergence into the 1990s, because there is a very popular song from an 80s metal band that came out in 1991. So it's right on the cusp. And that's Enter Sandman, which is a huge Metallica song that I learned as a kid. I didn't learn it as a kid. I heard it as a kid. And so that was my real foray into what heavy metal is. Now, I know it's cheating a little bit because it's the 90s and not the 80s.
Lot of it. It's cheating a lot of it.
However,
we specifically said 80s heavy metal.
80s heavy metal, which Metallica...
You chose a song that is 90s heavy metal.
Metallica,
I think this is going well.
Metallica is a band that was also in the 80s.
Yes.
So if you take their
songs,
hold on.
you can
Abraham
ride
Lincoln
their,
was the president back,
you can ride
back
their
way back when. Doesn't mean
popularity.
it's-
You can ride their popularity into the 90s, and it as if they like stopped and came back. They were just continuing
If you would
on.
have done something specifically just Metallica and their 80s stuff, then it would
I
be
did, though.
80s heavy metal.
But
You
I did, though.
Enter Sandman, which is 90s.
No, I already
heavy
did
metal.
it with And Justice for All. So, Going into
Okay,
my
so
last
now
ride,
that doesn't mean you can just suddenly have a 90s heavy metal
I
song.
mean, it does. Whether or not I get points for it is a whole nother story, but I
You
can
cheated.
still do it. It's not a.
This
It's not,
should be negated. This should be negated. You
well,
can-
if you want, I'll give another pitch. Then I've
no,
got
you've already
several other
started pitching
pitches.
this one. You've
No,
negated
first
a
of all,
pitch.
you've already pitched this one. Second of all, that's your pitch. Whether or not our problems and clear thing of pointing out something that's wrong with it is going to get in the way is something that is the point of the matter here.
I haven't pitched it yet, though.
We've already-
How did we talk about it?
Go.
Okay, we started talking about the fact that I said it was from 1991.
Pitch your thing. Pitch
Yeah,
your
the
thing.
90s heavy
So,
metal. Go ahead. Pitch
Enter
it.
Sandman is a dark boat ride. It's Enter Sandman the Ride. It's a dark boat ride that travels through a child's nightmare as guests try to escape the monster known as Sandman. Set to the tune of the Metallica hit, guests are transported through darkness, tight tunnels and corners, smoke and fog to disorient, giant mapping projections of the Sandman that appears out of the darkness, ready to take over the nightmares of guests. And then I wrote, if I can read this, what I wrote, yeah. Eventually the boat rises and rises, similar to Jurassic Park, into a cloud of sand and dust through the Sandman as guests escape, plowing downhill into a splash zone, then returning to one final scene where the dream is over, guests wake up and return to the loading dock. And that's my pitch number 3.
I don't have anything to tear apart on that one.
See,
I just want to
and-
let that sit.
The thing is it'd be a fun ride if we were doing 90s metal. It would be a great pitch for 90s metal. Unfortunately, this week's subject is 80s heavy metal.
But is that your only
Which
gripe
means-
with it? Because then
Well, hold on.
I did a good job.
Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I mean, the sand part I'm a little worried about.
I think we all agree it's a great pitch. And I think the only issue, which, yeah, technically we are only talking about 80s metal. The bad news is you're specifically referencing a 90s metal song. However, most metal is about some young kid's nightmare.
Mhm.
So you could choose, there's a ton of Megadeth options, Iron Maiden songs. There are other songs that would probably fit nicely in there.
So
It
you
just has
chose
a-
the wrong song.
Well, it has a special place in
therefore
my
made
heart.
and by therefore made it illegitimate.
Because the reason it made it a special place in my heart is because it's how I discovered heavy metal in the first place. So
Sure.
for me,
Okay,
I would love to see a metal
Good
part
thing
with-
that this is a personal experience that
Enter
isn't meant to
Sandman.
be something that people
I'm
are
just
going to go
saying,
to.
it might be exciting to know that like I discovered heavy metal through this classic
It's
Enter
not.
Sandman Metallica song.
I'm going to
So
tell you right now.
therefore-
I'm going to tell you right now. People showing up to 80s heavy metal land don't care that Spencer discovered something in his 90s heavy metal ride.
But what
They
I'm
want
saying
80s heavy metal rides.
is because it has a special place in my heart that may provide some, you get the idea.
I really
No.
appreciate how rigid the dramaturgical rails are in this entire podcast.
Oh, absolutely. We're playing for keeps. We're moving on to my pitches.
Oliver really, 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 really needs to let everyone know what he's about to say.
It's true. It's
That's-
sort of it's the point presentation. See, here's the thing.
Usually what happens.
If I had enough time, I would have rigged up pyrotechnics to be like, listen, just walk in with that. To
And you
start
didn't,
my
but
presentation.
you didn't.
No, I spent them all trying to figure out what the hell your last ride pitch was.
So Jeff, keep that in mind. He was thinking about it, but didn't quite go all out. For
Yeah,
this
that's
week.
fair.
So just keep
So
that in
let's
mind.
get on to my pitches. Now, my pitches this week, while I really appreciate Brad's deep-seated fandom of this genre and bringing it home to the most important decade of his life, and Spencer trying to be here as well, I wanted to come up with some interesting ideas. Now, I'm pitching 3 concepts this week, and the 3 concepts I'm pitching, I should warn you, might be the most wild ones I've done yet. And that's coming from the guy that pitched Crossfire the Ride.
Yeah, we know.
So let's first start off with my coaster idea. This is going to be an extreme coaster, and it's going to be a story coaster. Now, for those of you listening who don't know what that really means, I'm looking to make this based off of the Vekoma ride-based system that they're coming up with for the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride, where the actual car itself moves on the track the roller coaster is on. The reason we're doing this is because this roller coaster is called the Bender. Now, the Bender is something that I think is part of the lore of 80s rock. And the way this ride will work is after a big cloud of dust. You could be done through baby powder, a thing that's not going to cause allergic reactions. But the idea of dust, it's going to send you on a wild bender through 80s rock and roll. This coaster will point you towards moments featuring some of the best bands, whether it be Def Leppard, AC/DC. You'll be going through.
Whoa. AC/DC.
Yes.
I'm not a heavy metal band.
I think Brad does have a point. Like, there are lots of people that would consider AC/DC just pure rock.
That's fair.
But I don't know, man.
You're
Back
still,
in Black
you're
is
still
80s,
hitting,
and
you're still going to hit Motley Crue. You're still going to hit Guns N' Roses. You're still going to hit Iron Maiden. Like, you're still going to hit the classics. But the idea is that you're going through a wild bender of a night with twists and turns, featuring breaking apart hotel rooms, cheering into large crowds of people. You're going to have those moments where you're pulling up next to a limo that's on flames. Like, you're going to get all those really cool moments that are involved with it. But the idea being that it's like you're going on the twists and turns of the night. Now, here's my favorite part. The offloading system for this ride will dump you out onto a stage. Now, how do you get to the back of the club where the exit is? And I can't think of a better way to travel in the world of metal than to crowd surf. See, what I've designed here is a lead system that will have a bunch of hands that are all foam-based that allow the participants to jump out off of the stage onto these wave of hands that carry you out to the exit. Nothing says leave a show like ending it with a crowd surfing moment. So that is my ride, the Bender. Now I'll hold for applause and then questions.
How is crowd surfing ADA accessible?
So that's the fun part. So one of the ideas that I came into the idea hold on. I have a solution for this. So the hands moving up and down like that will be towards the center of the stage. If you go slightly off to the side of the stage, we can allow for a track that is done in the same graphic style as the hands via oscillating UV light to allow for the look of the hands going up and down. But the idea being that it's on a small bridge that is giving visibility that allows it to propel themselves. So you have that ability to actually just move them forward by just wheeling up onto it. It'll move you safely across and then off and gently down. So the idea is that the main floor of this contraption is taking up the majority of the stage, but off to the left, you would have an ADA accessible situation.
Wait, what?
What?
So wait, so the wheelchair just gets lifted up and it goes through the hands also? I'm a little confused.
So the wheelchair would leave the standard ADA ride car that we would actually have it built for, and then they would get off to the stage. The stage is the main exit point where we're having this moment. The standard large part of the stage would allow for this oscillating hands thing to be in front of you. If the person was to come off to the left and then get off, there would be basically several platforms that slightly move like this that allow the mechanics of the wheelchair to propel themselves forward. So they still get the feeling of going up and down, not crazily, not like pointing them and shoving them up and down, but the idea is that they still get that feeling while gently coming off at the end.
All right, we're gonna come back to this.
Sure.
Because I wanna ask.
I think Jeff has something to say about it.
I've got more. I have so
many more questions. I just want to throw even more stuff into the mix.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I've just come off a roller coaster. Ugh, little motion sickness. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's go ahead and crowd surf across. I can do this. Blah. You vomited onto the crowd surfing mechanics. What do you do then?
I'm glad you asked. So we have the hands that are going up and down, which means that we're on a lifted platform.
Yeah.
These hands that are going up and down will have the ability to it's not going to be grabbing people, but we'll have the ability to steer the same way that they do with delivery of package systems. They use rotating marbles to propel packages in different directions. The idea being that if we need to clean or shut down a part of that ride, those hands duck down, replacement ones are put in, and people can go underneath, because the fact of the matter is people are going to lose their phones, their wallets, and that kind of thing.
Like everything. All of that stuff that they bought at the Poison Parlor is
including their
gone
life
into the trough underneath it, just like a flume at Jurassic Park.
I'm also
to go buy another one.
I'm also just thinking of like these hands. If someone does like hurl chunks onto these hands that it's just going to be going into the air, and like before they move it down, that people are what was that? As they're like,
it's not a perfect system.
No, it's not.
So, okay, where to begin? So, what are these hands made out of, and how are we propelling? First of all, crowd surfing as a propellant mechanism, fantastic concept. In practicality wise,
A little more difficult.
How are we moving people forward? How are we avoiding pinch points and entrapments, which is a big thing in theme park design?
I thought about
glad
the
you
creative
asked.
aspect, not the practicality.
No, actually, I did think this through this time. So the IBM Swarm technology that allows for accounting for replacement pieces in the middle of a show, we would be able to track the people via motion camera and not UV, by using infrared light and tracking, the same way that you would basically a giant Xbox Kinect camera that faces straight down onto those hands. The hands themselves are going to be made out of a foam that has, think of it like I want to say it's a low density polymer foam that allows for a bit of cushion, but is easily replaced and isn't super expensive. So you're able to actually have these little platforms that can click in and be replaced and you can perform maintenance on. But the idea being that the camera system that's aiming straight down is allowing for waves of these hands to lift and lower. The idea being that the natural movement of you pushing yourself out onto these hands, as the ones that are behind you lift higher, the ones that are in front of you lift you a little bit lower, will push you like a wave system that is built for a water park. So it is a mixture between the IBM Swarm drone technology, and then you apply that to these pivoting hands.
So
Kind of like a marble machine.
That's more or less where I got the idea, was the idea of looking at an old school marble machine.
So you're moving from hands to hands to hands to hands, correct?
Yes, interlaced, so there isn't any,
So
like, you're not having that much. Yes.
Oliver,
Mhm.
is in our world, there's a thing called friction.
Yes.
How do you account for that? Because I mean, I could just see, oh no, Grandpa
Clothes
forgot to
getting
wear his belt
snagged.
again. Oh,
Yeah,
there goes Grandpa's pants are caught. Like,
so that was my thought about the marble machine. So part of this mechanic of pushing the things up and rolling them forward, it wouldn't be a pure straight out forward experience. You would be rotating slightly, but it's just because it is basically turning you around. It's the idea of these hands are rolling you forward.
Okay, is this a train? This is a train coaster. So you're talking about
These are two separate
hundreds
elements.
of people in it.
You're looking to offboard about,
Exaggerating.
yeah, you're looking to offboard about 35 people per ride car, which gives you a moment for people who are scared, but you could also be pushing them forward. You could easily have paths off to the sides that people can just walk down if they want. But like
That's not metal, Oliver.
right. So that's the thing. You'll be encouraged to go for it and that sort of thing. I truly think by the time that you've worked up enough, and like you're worked up and you've gone through this experience of the vendor and you're looking to jump into it, you're not going to have that moment of what the am I doing? Yes, Spencer.
Two questions. One is, and this just could be me not knowing. I don't know. I've only seen crowd surfing in like punk rock. But two, my actual question is, this whole crowd surfing, and you may have touched on it, whether or not that's optional when you leave the ride, because I remember I had a very my brain literally went, oh, that one time when I wanted to go to a water park and climb up and see all the cool decorations, but I did not want to slide down the slide, but the only way out was to go down the slide. And so I didn't go anymore. And I was like, I'm not coming back here. I'm not doing this because I don't want to do this. Is there a path for people to be like, I want to not do this part? I would
assume yes. For fire lanes
assume.
and
I'm pretty sure you're the designer, Oliver.
look, buddy, I'm just the designer. I don't come up with the individual
So keep that in
aspects
mind. Keep that in mind with the pitch. Is that was not a definite yes. That was an assumption, which means it wasn't in the original pitch.
Well, just wait. This is the least dangerous of my ideas.
oh
Great.
god,
Ready for the next one?
Yeah. So that brings me to my next idea. So as listeners of the podcast know, I'm a huge fan of upcharging. I am a huge fan of adding a premium experience to the park that really isolates some people and makes them feel that they're less than. No,
Your own metal guitar.
No, in my idea, escape rooms are sort of big, and there's a trend that's coming out that I think would be really, really fun. Now, a lot of hotel resorts and larger theme park companies have a lot of furniture that ends up being thrown into a dump or sold off to third market installers and that sort of thing, that after they're done using it, they have a lot of waste product. Now, my idea would be to build break rooms. Now, these break rooms are not break rooms in the sense of like a place where you would go to stand around the water cooler. What is
You mean like a break
metal
room?
than destroying a hotel room? You allow to pay for a premium experience where you can put on a song of your choosing by one of your favorite metal bands after signing several waiver forms and paying the premium experience. You get to destroy this hotel room with clean breakaway objects that we build to be easily replaced and put in with a turnaround time of about 15 minutes each studio. This bank of 8 rooms will allow for a 10-minute experience to allow for a person to go nuts. Now, here's the fun part. Scheduled times allow these rooms to compete for damage. They're given the items that they can mess around with. They're told not to light stuff on fire, not to do that sort of thing, but they're also given a clean suit. The clean suit prevents them from doing anything that might be gross in that regard, but the idea being that it's there to protect them from any of the shrapnel, any of the things that are breaking, but moreover, to prevent them from doing that sort of gross stuff. Now, here's the cool part. Because of the timed situation that's being built into the ride, the rooms will have an estimate system. At the end of this time clock, whoever causes the most damage will be the rock and roll legend and will walk away with an inflatable guitar. That is the idea of my break room idea. So it's you get to live out your rock star experience in these rooms to compete to cause the most damage to your favorite songs. I will hold for applause.
So it's not a break room.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
Okay,
Jeff,
so
you seem confused, flustered, and angry.
how do you imagine this is being staffed?
Okay, so here's my idea. The back wall of each one of these rooms can be removed for an easy clean out system. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be working the way P.T. Barnum designed his flip around system. Basically, the idea being that as one crowd leaves, the first crew comes in, that's the cleanup crew, the demolition, basically the ones removing the big chunks. Then you have the second crew that comes in that deals with the smaller stuff and the finer stuff, followed by the team that's going to come in and put in the next props. So you would have 3 waves of cleanup as part of this situation, with troughs that are built into the actual room itself that can slide open and you can brush the stuff into it. So the idea would be, yeah.
Oh, so three teams for one turnaround?
You're looking at 3 crew members, or you're looking at 3 waves of crew members. So you're looking at about a team of 6 per room, 8 rooms total.
So I will say, in Oliver's defense, Oliver, all you're doing is you're just pitching a rage room. What already exists. So you would be taking just their setup that they're already using as a rage.
A tried and true and proven mechanism, yes.
Rage room.
And just making it not as tried and true.
And making it more thematic.
And making it more thematic, but also the ability for people to watch. Like that's part of this whole thing, is that people get to watch the destruction.
What?
You could live feed it to a big scoreboard or something like the same counting system that counts the damage can allow you to see into those rooms.
I'm severely disappointed that your prize is an inflatable guitar.
Well, you got to think about resale.
Well, I won Fear Factor Live in Florida back in the day, and
humble brag.
Yeah, right.
A humble Brad, we should say.
We call it a humble Brad.
Humble Brad.
And they gave me a T-shirt that said I was a champion and 2 free tickets back to Universal.
That's awesome. We're spending a lot of money,
and I didn't have to spend any money for it.
Right.
So
we're spending a lot of money on this ride.
But people are also spending.
I just
want to
know why you can't. Why can't it be a T-shirt as opposed to?
Because I don't want it to.
Or a T-shirt and an inflatable.
I want it to be an inflatable guitar.
So people are going to pay like $20 to possibly win an inflatable guitar that they can get a lot cheaper on Amazon.
They're going to get to destroy a room. The after price is an afterthought.
$20 is all you're charging?
Oh, he didn't say
what's the price and how many people per room and what? Yeah, is it per person or is it per room rental?
I want to know what's your price.
So it'd be per room rental.
$200.
The idea being that we have the proven cost point of the lightsabers at $200. That is an acceptable thing for people to spend. However, they get to walk home with that item. What I'm looking to do is put this at a nice, even $100 experience.
How many people?
You're looking at each room allows for two people tops.
2 people per room.
So $50 a person.
If a person needs to be accompanied by someone, we would have that.
So I'm just doing some brief little research here, and I feel like you're creating a money loss project. Because 20 minutes of premium rage session for just one person with 10 small items, 5 medium items, and 1 large item, taxes included, is $82.68. That's one person. And you're adding 2 people in there. Okay.
Yes.
2 people date night here.
And don't forget, I'm paying for the song that we're playing.
Yeah. They're charging $143 for it, and that's just to destroy 16 small items, 7 medium items, and 3 large items. Now, I understand that you are getting these wholesale from hotels, but believe me, they're not just going to throw it away. You do have to purchase it. They won't.
Well, but here's the fun part.
They want to make their money.
I kind of want to go to a rage room. This sounds fun.
Here's the fun part. It takes 6 people to operate the room on the back end, let alone whoever is at the front of house.
Yeah.
Look, I feel like we're getting
a loss
a
of
little
money.
hung up on the details and the minutia of this.
I'm just saying, financially, I don't think you actually thought this through.
Oh, I can promise you I haven't thought this
Yeah,
through.
did he think anything through? I don't think so.
At what point did this do you think I thought?
You took a rage room and added thematic, which I liked. I liked you were going there. I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. And then it just went down.
Thank you, Lord Michigan. I really appreciate it. Now, yes, Jeff.
So I have one more question, which is,
what was I thinking?
Will you offer any sort of post-experience counseling, or the a possibility of someone to understand that maybe their rage is necessary to be dealt with, or if they have any sort of addiction? Like, a lot of the rage that you are referencing is due to drug addiction
from somewhere. Yeah. So I would say it's a fun lay-on is the idea of a place where you can talk it out afterwards. If you're unlocking all that rage and you're in that vulnerable place, we've already staffed it with how many people. There's no reason why we can't hire on-staff doctors to handle that.
Therapist upcharge, right?
Right, and then we do a $300 upcharge on the way out. See, then it becomes a full experience. We get them hooked on the experience, and then we bring them through. And at the end, they get a photo with their therapist.
and an inflatable guitar.
Right. And
only if they want.
I cannot emphasize this enough. I don't want to lose the inflatable guitar.
Only if they win, though.
Noted.
Okay, so now we're down to my 3rd experience. Now, I've already revolutionized the coaster world by adding this lovely offboarding system. Now, I've already changed the game by redoing the break room and giving you something to really experience. Now,
theming a rage room. Great, love it.
What I want to do with my 3rd experience is go after something that is near and dear to my heart.
Tenacious D?
It's the parade. Every good theme park has a parade, a tried and true classic. Now, here's the thing. Oftentimes with parades, there's a flow of traffic with a tried and true mechanism that goes through the area, like a main street or that sort of thing, and it's put out, and then you have holding areas, and there's a logic to it. What I would like to do is have a standard, very tame, very mellow, arguably bland parades start in the middle of your area. Now, for shits and giggles here, let's go ahead and say that it's Main Street or upstairs at Universal. Whatever park we're doing, there's a long straight stretch. As soon as this boring parade has made its way all the way to the end of the parade route, completely filling the length of the space, Tenacious D will step through and shut it all down because they want to bring out the metal. It's all of a sudden that this parade that has seemed very bland and very timid busts into song, into full metal rendition. I'm talking facades of buildings drop. I'm saying these people switch their costumes. We're talking staged concerts set to a long melody of famous songs. The idea being that this parade, instead of it being a moving, not interactive experience, we're going to invite these people into the metal show. These little vignettes will allow for a giant party to ensue that takes up the entire length of your space. People will be able to enjoy whatever items they bought to just rock out and have a really good time. One of the things that I found to be captivating about parades, but something that I always feel is missing is, yes, they're designed to be at the end of the day, at the night, to really just like wind down your experience. Big fireworks show, everyone's pretty tired. The likelihood of them jumping in is not very high. However, with Halloween Horror Nights and the way that they start those things, that high energy jump that you have there, I think that would be such a fun experience to end your night with your friends, rocking out to your favorite songs. So in this version, you would end up having pyro effects and all these different things going on that could actually be this full light nighttime rock show that's been interrupted by Tenacious D. Yes.
I think we're having a problem. You keep using this word parade, and I don't think you are using it the proper way. Like, it doesn't mean what you think it means. A parade is a public procession, especially one celebrating a special day or event, including marching bands and floats. It's also the verb walk or march in public. Now, you've just said that this parade extends the entire route, and then they perform shows at that area. That is not a parade. That is a show.
It's a cacophony.
Yeah. Thank you. That's
like
what I'm
Phantasmic, but like they actually stop the boats.
And it's just nothing but noise all the way down.
It's like Phantasmic, but every single song all at once.
And you could aim sound tech that could easily allow you to have different songs playing at the same time. No, but the idea is that it starts as a standard parade and then ends in this rock show.
It's not a standard parade if all it does is it just fills up the entire road.
No,
like
it's
you're just essentially just
and goes down a parade.
That's like saying that anytime someone walks out onto stage, it's a standard parade.
No, it's the idea that it's made to look like a parade. The idea that it starts off at one side and starts to make its way down, but by the time that all of these different floats are out, it locks in to become a show.
So it's like if Blues Brothers had a psych out where it's like, we're gonna be doing a parade. Just kidding, it's the Blues Brothers.
I mean, no, it's like if you went to go see the Minions parade that's currently being put out there, and then halfway through the Minions parade, instead of all the floats continuing to walk down, allowing the park officials to start to clean people out of the park, the floats stop the entire length of the parade route and have these little stages.
And also, parades are not just an end-of-day thing. I
know they're in the middle of the day, but the point is to do it in the evening.
I mean,
so
Universal does a whole Mardi Gras thing where they give.
I don't know, you guys are playing for the Main Street Electrical Parade music, and that is an end-of-day parade.
It is, but the thing is, it's a parade. It keeps moving. It parades.
Side note:
have you
seen rehearsal footage of that show during the day? It's very funny to watch.
It just, it does not look the same without the lights on.
It's just a bunch of people running around and being like, no, time, mushroom.
I personally like the parades in the middle of the day because then while everyone's at the parades, I go on the rides. That's what I like.
It's flow control.
Yeah.
But
float control
in my idea is the idea to take a standard boring parade and turn it into a rock cacophony.
You should call it the Floats of Destiny.
No, I'm good with rock cacophony.
And also, why did you choose Tenacious D, who
The
are
ultimate heavy metal
non-80s
band.
heavy metal band?
Because I think the Tenacious D lens that they bring, the idea of how seriously they take metal, that they could be characters that we haven't really seen do that. Bill and Ted, their whole core characters enjoy metal. They celebrate the ideas that were there. So their the actual fandom and energy that they have that goes towards that subject will spill out towards the idea that we're doing. It's the idea that it's like, no, not this boring band.
Similar, similar to Wayne and Garth, they are very much like a foil for the audience.
Yeah.
That like audience very much has a lot in common with them and has the same feelings that they do of intense fandom.
But it also allows us two clowns that can be going out and getting people that are not enjoying themselves to be part of it and bring them into the experience. So for review, my 3 attractions are as follows. We had the Bender coaster. We had the parade.
It's not a parade.
Cacophony. Yeah.
It's a crowd mess.
How dare you?
Rockapella.
And finally,
think about it. No, I want to go back to this. You're like trying to brush us off in your comments here of this parade, this so-called parade. And it is literally just going to be crowds of people. It's not going to help with movement. It's not going to help with flow. You want people to get out at the end of the day and stuff. And you're going to instead just pack as many people as possible onto your street to watch this show.
To the center of the park.
It's a fire hazard.
Yes.
Each one is presented a different death trap in a different form.
Absolutely.
This one just had 3 at once.
Yeah. So those
All
are my 3. So Jeff, you've heard these magnificent ideas, these industry-changing ideas.
Absolutely.
And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how am I going to possibly give these awards out? And I got to tell you, I feel for you, man. So we're going to go through the rides one more time from the top down before we go to your judgments. So we started with Brad, who had?
I had the Poison Parlor, Visions, the roller coaster, and Ernest Goes to Hell, the show.
Damn it. Spencer had?
I had the very simple Crazy Train the ride, the very simple ice cream shop and Just Ice for All, and the controversial Enter Sandman the boat ride.
Great. And I had the very death trappy Bender the roller coaster, the Bender coaster.
Bender's the roller coaster.
It's Bender from Futurama narrating 80s rock and roll.
Also 80s metal.
Nothing says 80s like Bender. So we have the Bender coaster, we had the break rooms, and we had my rock parade. All right. So Jeff,
Rockophony.
We're here. It's time. You could straight up say none of you deserve these points, but we're going to start with creative.
Bronze for creative is Oliver's The Bender.
Yes.
You hit a lot of great points of just all the metal happening all at once, which is great. I appreciate. Second, silver medal for creative I would have to say Ernest Goes to Hell.
No.
Because it takes so much other IP and uses that as sort of a wrapper for a review, a classic theme park show review, which is so much fun. I think it's silly. I like that I could have sworn we said it was family friendly, what with all the devil worshipping. But overall just a solid,
like corks on the horns kind of devil.
Yeah. And I gotta say, it's kind of an easy choice. Gold medal is Just Ice for All.
Damn it.
It's so simple and so great.
I can't say that I'm not disappointed, but I'm super happy for the points. Jeff, I agree with you, and that is the thing that makes me the most upset. Just
because, as you were saying, Oliver, too, like it is easy to see that thing fully formed on a page to be built, and you walk in, and there's Metallica playing, and you're ordering a ridiculous ice cream cone, and and you walk out into the night to the rock cacophony or whatever, but you've got some sweet ice cream.
And it's also that sort of thing of like, you could see someone in the ride, like when you're in the car on your way to the park being like, I can't wait to get Just Ice. Like, I can't wait to get like that's that item, that butter beer, that orange icy, like that's up to you. If you're enjoying the show that you're watching or listening to right now, feel free to leave a comment below with what you think was a good ride or bad ride idea. Do you think that my hands conveyor belt is a terrible idea? Do you want some Just Ice Cream? Do you even just want to let us know what you think about the show? Feel free to let us know at a comment below. Now, with that said, let's move on to bronze for practical.
Okay, bronze for practical is gotta be the Poison Parlor.
Poison Parlor takes it.
It's pretty silly, way not metal enough, way more just like overall 80s rock. That's okay, because it is definitely something that would and should exist in a heavy metal theme park. People love silly hats. You love tattoos.
So many boas. Oh,
attire.
so many boas.
Oh my gosh, so much. It is pretty great.
I thought you said Samoas, and I was like, are we throwing Girl Scouts
So
into
many
here now?
Samoas. Nothing says rock and roll like the Samoa.
So many. Silver medal for practicality is going to be Crazy Train, because you're going to expect a Crazy Train at the metal park. And yeah, that it is just a coaster in the dark with rock and roll, with Ozzy Osbourne screaming at you. And that's something that I'm going to want to see. I'm going to ride it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, there's no, Spencer, I appreciate you did not try to plus too much with too many animatronics or effects or anything. You were straight down the middle, and it was great.
I'm glad to hear that, because usually I do. I usually add way too much.
Yeah, that's sort of his signature. Which brings us to gold.
Gold for practicality is Just Ice for all. It is such a good idea.
No, where this is heading. Oh no!
It's just an ice cream shop.
It's just an ice cream shop, and this is, of course, Spencer would sweep with just an ice cream shop.
But it's so much more.
It's so much more. Every theme park needs an ice cream shop. Every main street in America needs
tons
metal
of PR that you could have those band members come and debut their flavor, and like, yeah, I get it. It's a good idea.
Those Instagram
great
pics,
idea.
those TikTok videos. Am I right?
So we have bronze. This is bronze for guest favorite.
Bronze for guest favorite. I got to go back to Ernest Goes to Hell, because again,
it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
It's a full package. It's a great show that doesn't need to. It has some bits that aren't purely 80s metal. None of you guys talked about Ronnie James Dio, which is points away to all of you. And there was not enough discussion of Iron Maiden or Judas Priest.
D, which is one step away from Dio. That's fine. I'll be over here.
It is not, but I appreciate that you think that it is.
Well, no, they were in Pick of Destiny.
Right, but Ronnie James Dio is like an important part of.
I know what I did wrong, Jeff. I'm trying to make an excuse.
But Tenacious D has a D in it, and Ronnie Dio has a D in his name.
Look, I listen to musical theater, all right? I know what I am. I said Rock of Ages.
And this is why Ernest Goes to Hell, pretty solid concept for something you've been walking around, you've been rocking out so much, you just want to sit down, you just got an ice cream cone, and you're going to hang out and watch a show. So I think that,
look at that through line that he is weaving right there for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Fave number 2 is controversial because I got to say, Spencer had a personal connection to Enter Sandman, and I give him a silver medal for the fact that it works as a ride. What he pitched as a ride is solid. If only it needs to be adjusted to use, I don't know, almost any other song that was actually written in the 80s.
I'll take it.
I mean, he did have a good ride.
It's a great ride.
I just hate that he got some points because he cheated. But
I'm going to have to go to my break room.
Most of Ernest Goes to Hell doesn't have 80s characters in there. Like Wayne's World is like 1992, I'm pretty sure.
Nope. Wayne's World is premiered on SNL in 1989.
Yeah,
and
that is correct.
Bill and Ted was 1988.
When did Ernest start?
He started in the commercials late 80s.
Fair enough.
So that brings us to the gold.
Yeah,
This
Just
is-
Ice for All. Are you kidding? Of course,
Yeah.
it's the gold medal.
Yes.
A
Yes.
sweep. Spencer sweeps.
Yes. I needed this. I needed this for a comeback.
Oh
It's
my god.
a gold medal idea, everybody.
It's a goal. It's oh, see, that was very good. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for doing this. You
Thanks for
brought
having me.
so much fun to this. Jeff, do you have anything you would like to plug or promote at the end of this for us?
Oh, I wish I did. You know what? If anybody is interested in theme park design and attraction design, be it museums or roller coasters or any of that, the Themed Entertainment Association is sort of where we all gather as industry professionals. So look it up. The website is teaconnect.org. I'm not here on an official capacity, but it is something that I do, and I love it. I love the community.
I can personally attest to those events being some of the most fun things that you'll possibly go to. So it is definitely worth checking out. If you enjoy theme parks, if you enjoy design, if you just enjoy that world.
If you enjoy
Definitely
listening
check
to
them
this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much to it, both the technology side, the design side, all of it. It's, I think a lot of people are familiar with Imagineering, and there's so much happening globally that isn't just a Disney park. There's so much happening all around the world that people get to design and get to do these kinds of exercises more often than not. So please come join us.
There you go. On behalf of Theoretical Thrills, I've been Oliver.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Spencer.
Have a great one.